Hey, we're live.
We're live. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. It's Val and Roy. We're back. So I dragged Val back. I know Daisy was with us last time, but today it's going to be Val and I.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about the Lortone Tumbler, which is kind of cool because wasn't available for a while. And so it's back on the market. And so we've got these tumblers in, and we wanted to show you some fun things you can do with it.
Some things you can tumble.
So, right, which is hence the name
what we're
Tumbler, or is that what they call it? So this is what it looks like. This is a machine, really simple, right? So not tricky to operate at all. You plug it in and it turns on. So there's not an on and off switch. That makes it pretty nice. Extremely durable, right? Because you can run these for a long time. So when we were,
I don't know if you can see. Can you see this one running? Just so you can see it.
You can hear it running.
You can see it in action.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a big reveal we're going to do, right, at the,
Yep, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, super exciting.
So stay tuned.
I can hardly wait.
Don't leave.
I can hardly wait. So we were, well, the first thing we thought about using it for was for making a pretend beach glass or sea glass, I guess it goes by. I've seen it called a couple of different names.
Yeah.
And when I was first doing a little research we were doing on this before it started, somebody was talking about how they tumble their glass for like 3 weeks, and I was like, oh, well, we're not going to do that.
Doing that.
So we'll talk about how long it takes, all the kind of technical stuff at first, but let me just show you what the tumbler looks like if you're not familiar with it.
Basically, let's say what we're doing is when you tumble something, it's usually, depending on how long you do it, it's going to be like softening the sharp edges, kind of giving it a frosted look. That's basically what's going to happen.
Yeah, what's going to happen
with the glass.
With glass.
And then we've got a couple other examples of something, well, one other, but anyway, just so you know what the tumbler does, right?
Yep, and these are really exactly. So what these are, I think, originally designed for is for doing, lapidary work, working with stones, right, and polishing stones.
Good word.
Thanks. And but we're a glass company, so we don't sell a lot of stones. So we thought we would try some glass with it. So this is the tumbling barrel, as it says on the top there, right? So this little knob, you just unscrew it. There's a little washer that comes off, which is nice. And then this, which I should have opened this before, because sometimes it's tight, right?
Yeah.
The cap that's on there fits really pretty tight, so there's that. And then the last thing is, this is seals it all in, right? So, this is rubber.
I was frowning, so I wasn't sure what was happening.
That's all right. No, he just didn't. Right, so I guess
I was trying to just because he's trying to get this out. So
this is going to take like 20 minutes. Okay, there we go.
Be distracting.
Right?
Okay,
and then so that comes out. So again, it's all rubber. This is also rubber. It's got that nice rubber, new rubber smell to it.
That's rubber.
You just get that when you buy them. That's nice. And so then you put whatever you're going to tumble in there. Again, could be rocks, right? We put some glass. We did a couple of different types of glass. We did sheet glass, and we also did some bottles. So I think it was
and some beads.
Noah suggested. Oh, we did some beads, right? We did all kinds of glass.
I did beads.
We'll show you what those are in a minute. But for the most part, you put in whatever you're gonna tumble in here. The recommendation is fill with water, so it just goes over, barely just covers the material that you're doing, and then you need some kind of an abrasive, right? You need something on the inside that's gonna frost it and give it that look and round off edges.
Basically just scratching it, right?
Yeah, scratching it all up is what it really is. So what we recommend for doing the glass is silicon carbide. It's something that we sell for doing some other, cold working type stuff, where we have reciprolap vibrating machines, that people use. Or if you're doing your own hand grinding, right, you can use these abrasives. We sell them in a few different grits. And if you're not familiar with buying things that come in grits, the lower the number, the coarser it is. And so, we sell like 4 different boxes. They look like this. It's a pound of silicon carbide. And then when we were first trying it out, I know that we were looking at, thinking that, well, maybe the finer stuff will be better and it'll give you a nicer finish or something. But we didn't find that to be true. So the most coarse one we sell is what's called a 6090, is what's in this bag right here, and that's what we use, and it works great, don't you think?
So what did we say? So what did we, like, for a half full About 2 tablespoons. Is
Yeah,
that what we said?
that's what we kind of found out is that, so again, you only want to fill this thing about half full with glass because it's got to tumble around, right? You don't need space to do that.
Yeah, you can't pack
And then
it
with
in
that, we put in about 2 tablespoons of the abrasive. I mean, you could do a little bit more if you want, but I found that not be any more effective by using more. And then, as I mentioned before, fill it with water till it just covers the glass, and then close it all back up. Set it on. If you can see this is the base for the tumbler. There's these 2 bars, right? And then when you turn them on, one of the bars is spinning, and that's what actually, when you put the barrel in there, it just rotates on that. As you can see, the one that's going. If you look at the, I'll put the lid back on it again real quick. If I can cram that back in there.
Yeah, just by the way, that is really a snug fit.
Yeah,
so
it's a really
sometimes,
nice fit.
At first people in the beginning, I remember, didn't think it fit, and it does. It fits inside there.
Oh man, does it ever? Yeah.
You have to.
And this goes back on, and you just tie it down, and you really don't have to screw this super tight because of that piece that we put in there with that metal piece with the rubber on it. Seals it up pretty good. But if you can see the top of this, there's a groove in where that little knob is that I just put on, and that groove sits right into here. There's a little metal plate that's got a indentation in it.
Yeah.
That sits in there,
Sits
and
in
then it just spins.
In
right?
the cradle. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
like a
kinda-
cradle. Oh, I like that. That was nice. It's good
Thank you.
description.
Thank you.
Nice. So that's how that thing works. It operates. Like I said, it's pretty simple. So these, as I mentioned before, they're designed for doing stonework. So people that are doing stones, they literally will run them for weeks, right? I mean, we're not stone people here, but it's a really long time. So really nice and durable. They hold up really well. I think the longest we did was I did the bottles in a day for a day and a half. So it was not
Really?
even 48 hours. I know, right? And I thought they turned out pretty good. We'll see if we can get some close-ups of what they look like, just so you can see what's going on with these. But it softened all the edges on these, which is, there's nothing sharp at all on that, right? And we found that it does get to a point where going longer doesn't necessarily make them look any better, right? So a lot of it just has to do with how soft you want the edges to look. You're gonna frost it. So this is sheet glass, so this was broken. This was broken, we have a lot of broken glass here at Delphi, you can probably imagine. So we found a few pieces floating around and threw these in. And this was only for one day. This was 24 hours that we did these. And again, it's all frosted. There's no sharp edges whatsoever on any of the glass.
Right. I did mine for only 18 hours.
And if we would have gone a little bit longer, it would just start round.
yeah.
If you see this one that's kind of like a triangle, it would just round the corners off more. So if that's what you want to do, you certainly could let it go a little bit longer.
Yeah, so we kind of experimented a little bit with
Yeah, we
some
did
stuff,
experiment a
just
little bit
because,
with length of time.
so we could kind of see what else might be used, because we like reproducing. People are real fond of that sea glass look, and they use it a lot in jewelry and stuff. And so this is a great thing to use for that.
Or beach glass.
But yeah, beach glass. But we also did a few other things that I thought was kind of cool. I teach flame working here, so I have lots of beads, and so I know there's often a time when we might use that chemical etch to frost a bead or something.
Yeah, sometimes you just want a different look to the glass, right?
Yep.
Not always so shiny. You want it to have kind of a matte kind of finish to it.
I threw them in with then I had this was a bottle that actually has what do you think this is made of? This paint?
I think it's enamel.
An
some
enamel.
kind of enameled. Yeah. Was it like
It's
a
one of my
wine bottle?
Wine bottles. One of many, but yes.
Wow. Probably
yes.
the only one you have.
Yeah, I had to really scrounge to find that. That's not funny.
That's not funny,
Okay.
people.
But I thought it was really kind of cool because the enamel did stay on. So
Yeah,
if you have bottles, but they don't have to be wine bottles, but if you have bottles that maybe have some enamel work on them, it's kind of a cool look, I think. And then I brought a couple of beads just so you could kind of see the difference, because normally, when you make a bead and I don't know if you can tell that it's pretty shiny. So the ones that are tumbled, you can tell they kind of now have more of a matte finish, which I got to tell you, often, and a lot of the guest artists that come here always, have some kind of etched bead they like, a technique they've done. and often it's just a chemical etch or sandblasted with a sandblaster. And this was way easy. You know, you just throw them in the tub.
I was thinking the same thing, right?
Yeah, and I didn't have to get that smelly
You don't have to
stuff
actually do anything, right? The machine can just do the work.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of
that is nice.
that was kind of really interesting. And then some of the clear work we do in flame working is even kind of sometimes I think looks better to be frosted. So this little guy, and this is going to be hard for you guys to see, but that was how many? That wasn't very long at all. So we're trying to
see this little dolphin that we threw in. Literally, we did it for like an hour, maybe an hour and 20 minutes. I think right before we went live, and we were just curious to see like how short of time would do that. But it did. You know, I don't know how well again it shows up on camera, but it frosted. I mean, it's not like it's frosted or these other pieces, obviously, but it does have this nice little kind of frost to it that's a little different.
Yeah, so that's just, you know, a couple of things that maybe not always you might think of, but it really does work really good for that purpose too. So
yeah, and the bottles are always nice. So what I do want to know is when I was doing a little bit of research before we started doing this, I ran across there's some controversy out there in the sea glass and beach glass world.
Is that why you corrected
me? Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, some people call it sea glass, some call it beach glass. But what we're doing, they would be so offended, right? That because this is cheating, right? It's not.
Oh.
I can tell you, if you want this look in a beach, you have to like put it in the ocean for like 30 years. I think I read for it to look like this, or you can put it in a tumbler for like a day and a half. So I mean, it's up to you, whatever you want to do. But we're not trying to pretend that we're something that it's not, right? And we're not claiming we found this on the beach, right? So we're
not at all.
Selling it that way.
But a lot of our glass people have, just like we do, a lot of scraps.
It's a great way of using scrap.
Yeah, if
and you can do some fun stuff with it. So
look at Roy's necklace.
Yeah, look at. Thank you very much. You can see my necklace, right? Is that?
That was made by Daisy for him.
Yep. See my lovely necklace, right?
And then I think Isabel made the chain. It's a
that's right.
Jack chain.
This is what we hang our stained glass panels with, so I know it looks pretty fancy, right?
It is fancy.
It's pretty thick.
But all kidding aside, it's kind of cute, really.
Yeah, she did another one too. I don't know how well you can see this one. Another wire wrapping that, again, Daisy did this, right? So with, again, stuff that we have around here, right? So Delphi carries all the nice wire wrapping stuff. I know I keep moving my hand, probably. Right, so we have a variety of different tools for different ways of manipulating the wire and wrapping it. We even sell some nice, silver tone wire that you can use to do some fun wrapping. So you can see the lovely necklace that I have going on. That Isabel made this, which I thought was really pretty cool, right?
Really
so this
cute.
was one of the bottles that you found, Noah, right? So, and then we, smashed the bottle. That was fun. I did that with a hammer, in case anybody's wondering, like, how technical that gets.
Yeah.
And that's one reason why we end up with sometimes some really interesting shards, from the bottles, is because of the, hitting it with a hammer. But, she just glued this with some E6000, if you guys are familiar with that adhesive, right?
Yeah.
A nice piece of Yakagani glass on the bottom.
Seriously, what a great idea, because it...
Right?
Yeah, that's beautiful, and
it's really nice.
You don't need a kiln to round up the edges.
Oh my gosh, no.
And so you really could do some really fun sculptural stuff just by getting these edges not sharp anymore.
Yeah, and then another project was something done with a product that we don't sell here, but in a lot of the art, and craft supply stores, called air clay. Something that just dries, it's soft and just dries when it's exposed to air. But Isabel made this fun turtle, which she was saying, what a great project for kids.
Yeah.
Because once you've tumbled the glass, it's not sharp, and so they could easily handle it. My wife's a teacher. I should bring some of this stuff in. What a fun
I've
school
never seen
project.
that stuff before.
Yeah,
that's kind of
fun. The air clay stuff is fun, right?
And
so again, the shell is made with the
glass.
With the glass. Willow, there's another talented person that works here. Willow made this really nice picture here, and again, it's all just sheet glass that we had found. I mean, this came out of our scrap, and in fact, she was telling me that was the size of the scraps she found. She didn't even break them up; they were pretty small, and then threw them in there, and then obviously painted on there to kind of make it look a little more decorative. But yeah, what a fun use of
yeah, it's really cute. They did
sea glass.
Those girls are good.
Right, I know, right? I got a lot of nice, talented people that work here.
Okay, so
yeah.
So, but this is all with the silicone
Yeah.
Carbide.
The silicon carbide. Yep. That's what we use here. But we have another thing that goes in, right, that works with the tumbler. There is, I was drawing a blank. Art clay. It's not silver clay.
Silver clay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Okay, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, so we sell a product here that is, we should have brought one of the packages. Dang, we forgot one of the packages.
I have one. Just excuse
Val's
me
gonna go
one
grab
moment.
it. We'll, you know how it works around for us, right? We can't always remember everything that we're supposed to bring. So we do have some art silver clay. So it's a clay. It's a really interesting material if you're not familiar with it. Yeah, here we go.
That's
right?
the syringe.
5-star Project X. This stuff is called, right? So there's a couple of. One of them's in a syringe format, and then one is like a little bit of clay. And so what it is it's silver particles that are in a binder, in an organic binder. And so you manipulate it just like you do clay, so you can make jewelry out of it, pendants. Val's got a couple of really nice examples here. And then it gets fired in a kiln, and all the binder burns out, but the silver stays. Now the downside to that is the silver's not shiny, right? I mean, once it's fired, it looks like this piece here.
There it is.
I don't know if you can see this one or not, Jarrell. It's pretty.
It looks real chalky.
But yeah,
right?
it looks kind of chalky and white, right? Not real shiny like we expect silver
Yeah,
to
and
be.
here's a shinier version after it's been polished.
And so we have to polish the silver. You can do it manually, right? I think we sell some hand tools that'll do that.
A wire brush.
Like a wire brush. But what's, again, as Val and I are kind of pointing out, might be a little easier, is, to throw it in a tumbler and then you can just walk away from it. So we actually, that's what's in the tumbler here, is some of the silver clay, the project that Val did. And we're probably at almost a half hour, a little over, I think, that it's been tumbling. So we think that's all we need, right? Is all we were thinking about?
Yeah, but we should talk about
minutes?
what's in that tumbler.
Oh, let's talk about what's in the tumbler. Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Yes,
so
let's
what's
do that.
in the tumbler is not just the silver clay.
It's not the same thing as we tumbled the glass with.
What we're using is what's called shot. And this is stainless steel, pieces of metal, wide variety of kind of interesting shapes. So they're not all the same. If you can see that, some are little round balls, some are kind of cylindrical looking. And so it's sort of the same setup. I mean, obviously we didn't fill this with half full. We just threw some in there. I threw in like a bag of shot, something like this. So, which I think is about a pound, if I'm not mistaken. And then you do have to put water in there. But the other thing we do is put at this one? Yeah, sorry. Put just one drop of Dawn dish soap it doesn't have to be Dawn. Sorry.
Are they paying
unless
you?
Dawn wants to sponsor us, we'd be more than happy to mention them.
Right.
But some kind of dish soap, and you just want one drop. Because what that does is it kind of breaks up the tension a little bit and makes things slide around a little bit easier. And we think it's a more effective way of working with the silver clay and getting that to look shiny. So same deal though, we have to use water, right? So then shot, the silver clay, little drop of dish soap, water. So that's what's in there. And like I said, it's been going for about a half an hour, maybe a hair over, maybe 35 minutes or so. And I think we're going to open it up and see what it looks like. What do you think? So
I think so.
You do have to unplug it.
Is that it down here?
Yeah, sorry. It's.
Okay, excuse me again.
Yeah, be careful. Good thing your hands aren't wet or something. Nice. Oh, good.
Oh, it's nice and quiet.
Nice, much quieter.
Okay.
So it just opens up, right? So again, same deal that we did last time. So this unscrews this little knob. There's a washer here that comes off. This cap, which sometimes, I didn't put it on real tight, but sometimes you literally have, sometimes I've had to take a flathead screwdriver and kind of pry up one side and then pull it off. So don't be surprised if that gets on there pretty tight. And then this is that inner piece that fits in there that you do have to kind of, rock out a few times and pull it out. You can see we have, if you look on the inside, I told you I put one drop of the dish soap in there so you can probably see the little bubbles that occur. And then we just realized that we don't have a place to dump this. No, we got a place. We got something right here. Be right back. Pretend like I haven't left.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. So we got this container, right? We're just going to dump it in there. And then or we could have just kind of pawed through it too to try to find where the silver is at, right?
Yeah, so here.
You put in a couple pieces, right?
Right, so I don't know if you can. It's still going to have a little bit of residue on it, but I mean, you can, I don't know, like I said, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but this one really has that chalky coating off of it.
Wow,
And
this one's pretty nice.
yeah, they're pretty nice. And then, so you can dry them off, and then there still might be a little bit you might need to do, like a polishing cloth or, you know, the metal brush. Sometimes we can just use that, but I just have my polishing cloth. But anyway, you know, so otherwise this method would be me doing this with the brush, the metal brush.
Oh yeah,
and then,
yeah. It's,
you know, so I think that if you're, especially if you're doing several pieces, it's kind of a nice way to.
yeah, if you can see real, I don't know how what where we're at on the difference, right? So this one, you know, here is the original.
I just did that.
That you did this one.
I showed them side by side, didn't I?
Oh, did you already do
Didn't
this?
I,
Oh, I'm
guys?
sorry, guys. Just I wasn't paying attention. Is that obvious? Is that my
No,
normally
show
what I
them
do?
again.
Let me
yeah,
show you again. Let me,
yeah. Well, Vanna, go
I'll do
ahead.
it different than Val.
Yeah,
so.
let's go ahead, do it.
It's fine. You guys got it. Hey, it's shinier. Isn't that surprising?
Yeah, I know.
So,
but it is, like I said, it is a nice way to do it if you're into the silver
yeah,
clay.
and you know, Val and I are not the silver clay experts by any means, right?
Oh,
Would
heck
you
no.
say? And so you can. We just want to kind of show you that it's pretty easy to make something look really pretty nice without.
Really, I really
without a
like
ton of experience,
like
so.
this, and I just glued a little silver bail on, and I think that's pretty cute.
I think you can actually, if
Since
it's
I've never-
if it's a pure
haven't
silver
done
veil,
it
you could
forever.
have done it like with a torch or something, but
I did do it with a torch.
you did that. You glued it on.
Oh yeah, no, I meant I did put it in a kiln. I used the butane.
Oh
torch.
yeah, so I mentioned earlier about the silver clay. Again, if you're not familiar with silver clay, it is, you can fire the burn, I said using a kiln. I said you have to
Yeah,
find the, but you don't have to use just a kiln. You can actually use a small butane torch and burn the binder out that way. So either way works.
Right.
Yeah, I sort of forgot that. Yeah, I forgot to mention earlier too. Hey, if you guys have questions, you know, you guys hopefully you know the routine, right? You can just make a comment in the video section below, or you can always message us on Facebook or Instagram, or you can send Val an email at Facebook at
Right, yeah, go ahead.
delphiglass.com. You thought I was going to give him your real email, didn't you? Right?
So here's another little thing too that I just thought of that, and I
Oh,
meant,
yeah, you
and
were
I
talking
meant
about
to
this.
I meant to throw it in with the beads, and it's just a bevel, right? So all of us glass people, who especially stained glass people, will use bevels, you know, in their pieces, and we used to. They even make them frosted.
Yeah,
You know,
sometimes.
sometimes. So you know, if you have this tumbler, you know, and you have bevels, and you decide you want to, you can just throw them in there and frost them too.
Yeah.
Which I meant to do, and I didn't. But it just occurred to me. I thought, oh, well, if I'm home and I'm not
Yeah, I know,
here,
you
and
said that,
thought
right.
maybe, you know, 2 bevel squares up in the corner of that stained glass piece would be kind of neat if they were frosted. Then you have a tumbler, you can just do it. So I think
I know, you
that's-
know, we say all the time, you know, we don't have, there's not enough hours in the day for us to always
I
play
know.
around with all the ideas that come up, but that is a great idea. Again, if you're using glass, you want to use the silicon carbide, right? That's not the shot for glass. The glass is a little too, the shot's a little too aggressive for the glass. You'll get some scratches and that type of thing, but
Yeah, there's one. Hang on, I'd be right back.
she just keeps leaving, that's all right.
There's one more thing I want to show you.
That's good. We're okay, just, you know, take your time. You're, yeah, that's a. So don't be dropping any like F-bombs or something as you're looking for stuff. So I think we're okay though. You don't get like any fined by anybody, right? Because we're not on the radio. We're fine. This is good. It's right. So we can say.
Well, I was just going to say this, but then I thought it might be better if I have
Oh yeah,
an example, because you know, this is dichroic glass for people who don't know, and it's just a glass that has a metallic coating on the one side of it, and it's real popular, right? It's kind of expensive, but it's really kind of, you get a nice little bang for your buck in certain ways. So I just wanted to kind of show you the coating. So what I did just for fun was, this is the same dichroic glass after I tumbled it.
tumbled it.
Do you see that? Maybe that's not something you should tumble.
Yeah, so I think this is a warning, right?
Yeah, this
It's
is
sort
just
of
a FYI.
Yeah.
If you're going to try to tumble glass that has any kind of a coating on it, even iridized,
you'll lose the coating.
you're
so,
going to lose the
yeah.
coating. So, just
Great.
so you know.
Good advice at the end, right?
Yes,
So otherwise,
Helpful tip.
I think we probably covered like all that we had to say, right?
I think we did.
Good.
Sounds good.
Do you boys want to say anything?
Yeah, you gentlemen want to say, or you could call them boys.
Well, they're way younger than me. So.
Should be good. You can get the Lortone Tumbler now at delphiglass.com.
Excellent, Noah. Good job.
Yep. Good.
Yeah. And then as always, like I said, if you got questions later on, reach out. I mean, we're happy to answer them. Or if you have ideas for other things you would like us to do. I was recently at a glass conference and ran into a couple of people that actually said they watch us, that was super nice. So at the AGG conference, thank you guys. And they were telling me how someone said to us that they learned how to frame their stained glass piece because they watched our thing, which I thought that's why we do these, right? So if you have ideas or need help with something or would like to see us do something live, I mean, reach out to us. We're happy to do it. So.
We would love it. We would love suggestions.
Yeah. Well, otherwise, until next time, we'll see you guys then.